Alright guys, so you wanted that commentary video. I promised I'd start doing them. Here we are. Better or worse. Now what you can see I'm running here is the standard flame build you've seen on the channel before. If you're new, it's an all rad AC or RAD, with the only exception being the generator and the FCS because those weren't the options. This one's running the Ming Tang and the 80 mid-range FCS. That's the standard one. I forget which actual model it is. It's not the Volt. It's the other one. Our first opponent is a quad, kind of a standard, what I consider bully quads. But we start out with the standard kind of standoff situation. Neither one of us really want to close on the other one. I guess he doesn't want to deal with the flamethrower. I really don't want to deal with quads. So, mutual level of disrespect going on there. And we finally get into it because it's inevitable in this game. You will at some point be met close quarters unless you are an extremely good Kite player. And that's not what the two of us are clearly doing. So, I end up in this situation. He has, at this point, I don't think I have pulse armor. I think I still have assault armor on the build. And this goes about how you think it will. The quad has better firepower, better general mobility, and just a better game plan overall, if I'm being honest. Oh no, we do have pulse armor on this one. Well, this did come after the change. That's great. But this, what I said remains the situation. The quad holds the advantage here. Shouldn't be a secret. I wish the flamethrower were a little better by itself. It's not. I get dinked for having the audacity to run a lightweight build for any reason, especially one that's not exactly fast. What you saw in the first round, you'll see again here in the second. I try occasionally to get the Sweet 16 in the action from time to time. I don't remember if it happens in this match or not, as an attempt to capitalize on the status effect that the flamethrower can give you. Since this second fight plays out much like the first, I'll use this time to kind of critique this. I wish that status ailment was actually on a percentile scale, not a break scale like the, say, bleed effect in the Souls games. Or not like a shock effect or ACS break in this game. It would be nice if the flame actually made the ACS effect more annoying the higher it's scaled as the stat. It would cause a little bit of airplay with some of the stats the game already has, and while yes, the ACS breaks are annoying to pretty much all of us, it at least make the gameplay a little different in certain very different situations. Maybe niche, maybe not, who knows. I'd also like to see more stats though. But as I stated, second round, just about the same as the first. I managed to hold a little bit more distance, get a little bit more damage, but that's what I'm going to talk about here at the end of this. This is what I consider to be a one-sided fight. Look at his health on the other hand. That's about a third of his health bar left, or AP. That's honestly not that bad. That could have been a lot worse. Also, I'm going to go ahead and hit the details on this guy. I feel like a pretty decent player running a pretty weird build, but I think Toku Robo is what they call these. This is a Nachtrier variant with a couple of weird choices, but he makes some interesting changes later on, which you'll see in one of the later fights. This is a fight I thought I lost at the screen. I legit thought I was cooked. And it turns out that I had a fighting shot. And you're seeing that play out fairly well right now. Now, I don't know if that's because he's being conservative with the LRB. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes with that gun. I don't think so, though. I'm still taking a pretty good chunk of damage. And when he gets in, he gets in. He operates his shield pretty reasonably. That's a hard thing to deal with sometimes. Finally get a break. Not able to really do much about it, but it is what it is. With this particular set of events, again, thought I was probably screwed. 800 AP. I think at this point we're both a little bit afraid to contest the other one, seeing as we're both basically magic pixel health at this point. And Flamethrower gets rid of magic pixel health really well. Now, getting close to this kind of player is actually really dangerous, because if they use the LRB well, or they're very conservative with how they shoot it, if you get into any position where they're going to be able to tap you with it, it's gonna hurt. Nobody runs that weapon without running substantial energy generators to make sure it does hurt when it hits. And while it can be deceptively effective at range as well, it still needs to hurt when it hits, and the LRB will just do that. So I'm very leery of, again, getting close to this guy, more than I have to. The 200-ish that the Flamethrower and the Attaché or Grief Case like to work at is where this AC kind of likes to stay. Also, the missiles on the back, I believe that's Soups, do a lot of better work further out. If you're really close when someone fires those, that's kind of the secret. Get close to Soup users. They have a hard time tracking at close range. Now, I consider this to be somewhat of a miracle win. I don't think it is, but like, looking back, certainly one I didn't expect to get. Now, this particular fight, place your bets in the comments on how this one goes. Everything looks like it starts off good. I've got the vertical kite thing going on. He's only hit me with a little bit of Zimmerman, which is still not good, because I've barely hit him with anything. Now, I've been told, for some reason, this is just like the way the latency works in this game. Sometimes the lag's just not on your side. Don't know how much I don't know how much I want to blame that on, though. Whether it's true, you know, it's reliable. The game is laggy, but I don't feel like that would have changed anything in this fight. The Zimmermans are just good. Don't get shot by Zimmermans, people. Also, if the audio sounds a little weird, new microphone since the last recording, so that's a change. Actual studio mic for once. Here's where I just said YOLO. I just go in on the Zimmerman guy, trying to get my own ACS breaks with this Flame debuff and the Sweet 16. It obviously doesn't work. But how are you gonna know if you don't try? I mean, I got nothing else going on. Otherwise, I'm just gonna backpedal and get Zimmerman to death. So, I felt like I did pretty decently, all things considered. But, again, dual Zimmerman build, vertical kite, lightweight with medium to heavy weapons. I'm looking at the match chart and I don't remember how this one goes. It's obviously, or you look at it, you think this enemy's a kite build. That's what it's listed as. Rifles, grenade. Excuse me. And the guy plays it as such. At least up till about here. While he's still backing up, he's doing this a lot different than I'm used to. If he turn and burns, it's not usually a long one. Now, he is running the foil generator, which means he can usually get away if he wants to. But he doesn't really even need to. For some reason, also just flubbed that dodge. For some reason, I am having a hard time, from my perspective, getting shots on these guys, even though he had a third of his health at the end of the match. Just, if you're not conscious of watching what the enemy has health-wise, these sorts of builds will destroy your confidence in anything. It's almost like running that bazooka lightweight RJ. When it hits, it's really nice, but when it doesn't hit, it just feels very bad. I thought at the beginning, okay, fine, you know, let's see what the Kite guy has. And then after I get hit by the last grenade from the other round, I thought to myself, well, that was all my fault. I can fix that. Apparently, no. I just eat grenades. They're yummy. Apparently, the caloric value of a grenade is very low, and I find them tasty like pie. That said, since I'm still in lightweight, I can't be doing that. I try again to make sure I dodge in round 3. You might be sensing a pattern of how the game treated me this evening when I was working on this. I was not in the best place to deal with this. A little bit of lag there, but again, not too overly concerned, because usually if it lags for you, it lags for your opponent as well. Great example of the flamethrower catching up the back end. Again, I was actually shocked I won this. The opponent did a pretty good job, as far as I could tell, and only made a couple of major mistakes. I'm just going to spoil this one. If the opponent's screen didn't already do that. Yeah, we're not making it far in this one, fam. I get cooked. The Water Strider is a really good build, and this thing is heavily dependent on either your opponent wanting to come to you, and it's not really a Kite build. At least, sorry. At least not in the traditional sense. It also really can't chase all that good because of the grid walkers. Not that it should be with the flamethrower anyway, but that's a whole other argument, I guess. This is where I'm going to point something out and talk about a little meta stuff, or well, a little meta about me and playing the game. If you've made it this far in the video, we're a little under halfway through. And I am legitimately curious what some of you guys would do with this AC in terms of fixing its problems. Now, it is a RAD themed AC. I didn't build this specifically to be the best I could. There are probably things I could tweak here and there that would make it better. Just in general, probably the frame most likely. But I just want to see what you guys come up with. So if you have like a theory, or just maybe you run these types of ACs or have been dealing with a flamethrower a lot, I would love to see any information you guys have on that, because everything I've tried to do in this game comes back to bite me. The 3 times I've had good examples were when I was just stubborn about it. That's 213, my bomb thrower build. My double melee build, Zorro, which you've no doubt seen on the channel if this is my first video. And that was largely inspired by my boy Colton Gaming. As was my other blader, was inspired by another guy. I think Harrison's channel is the way it's pronounced. I haven't really made too many original mechs. Most of them are either knockoffs, derivatives, or stuff I stole from other people. The exception, I think, being Lachesis, 213, and Vandal. But the double Werger build, the double Haldeman Berziel light, and the machine gun bomb thrower javelin missile, lightweight for record. When it comes to doing other stuff in the game, I'm not really suited to this. I'm not good at it. 6 has thrown me a curveball, much like 4 did. And much like Horror, I feel like I don't have the tools to do the job. The game is missing that special sauce or that one thing that I'm really looking for and really want. And I'm in a situation where I feel lost. This isn't an uncommon occurrence. But again, any advice on putting together ACs that's not, you know, meme builds, stuff that's going to get bodied by Water Striders this poorly. That said, he does have low health on these. So, am I just underestimating myself? Regardless of me moaning and complaining for an entire session, here's the second round with this guy. I want to point out that he put the stun pistol on here. One of them. He's running one. When I saw that, I didn't really I didn't think too close about it, right? I thought, okay, we'll have a good rematch. We'll see how this goes. And in this case, I think that stun pistol's the right call. Just the one. It does exactly what he needs it to do. Because the LRB, like I said, when it hits, it hurts. You only really need a couple of hits to turn something around, especially on someone who only has mediocre energy defense. That can turn an entire game around. And while I do have him at a disadvantage right now, that's no guarantee that's how this is going to play out. Good shielding, good skills, and good weapon management. The defense will take you a long way. Lag notwithstanding, you can get away with a lot of stuff. Also here, I'm pretty sure we were just afraid of going at each other again with the magic pixel health. This normally isn't an issue, but I mean, this guy also managed not to get clipped by the last little bit of flamethrower or the missile volleys. Bravo, bro. In round two, kind of more of the first. Now you'll see us go back and forth a lot. This time I played a little, I think it's a little more aggressive in this one. Yeah, I stay a little closer this time. But for the most part, the thought process is the same. I don't want to give him opportunities, but I gotta also make sure he can't get his pistol into play like he wants to. Because the more stun I get, the more cooked I'm gonna be by the LRB. Good combo. At least, I think it is. I'm gonna point out my flamethrower just got burnt there. It was overheated when he hit ACS break. I think I could have cinched this round if I'd had the flamethrower up when he broke. Obviously, no one will ever know that, but I think that's the situation I would have been in. Other than that, excellent shot. At the end, using the stun to get it if I'm not mistaken. Boom, boom. Got it. Again, the one pistol got it for once. I left this one in largely because I want to show people what a competent dual Zimmerman build on that kind of frame can do when you bring something in that is an AC you know can do damage, but it can't force its game plan. Because unless you run two flamethrowers and unless you have a fat AC, you're not really able to force anyone in close to play your game plan. Now there's people that run Nachtrier builds that'll dodge everything on the ground, but one earshot and you're cooked. So you're still playing the rock, paper, scissors game there with what you get. And again, if it's a bunch of shotguns, eventually this is what happens. It's just the nature of the game. Now we all know this is a game going on 3 years being out. Everybody's complained about the ACS system ad infinitum. I'm going to add on to that here a little bit because the combos in this game make no sense. A mech punching you or a shotgun hitting you during ACS stun causes longer stun. A gun mildly massaging you does not cause longer stun. While that makes logical sense and you think about inertia or any of that, or if you really have a gyroscope or something trying to reposition the mech. Gameplay-wise, it's stupid. Alright, moving on. Or complaints moving on, I suppose. We got what I assume is a Moonlight. I think it is the Moonlight, actually. With the LRBs. LRBs. Big fat back cannons. I forget what they're called. I'm sorry. And this guy does it in the exact way you think he's going to. That's right. He is trying to stack that ACS and get that punish. I mean, rightfully so. He's playing a heavy AC, capable of getting in, taking hits, shrugging off ACS damage from time to time. He knows he's probably going to get broken, but he's got enough armor that he should be okay. But he also knows he can trade that ACS damage to you, and if you're lighter than him, do a good chunk more, especially with those backhands. I try to deny him that as long as possible. My thought process is just stay away until his charge is either going to kill me, or maybe I can kick him. The backcannons, if I'm remembering right, typically lose charge when you slap somebody with a stun effect, be it the worker, be it a kick, be it a heavy blade strike. Now, this doesn't go well for me in the beginning. Understatement of the century, perhaps, but there you go. However, it does work. Now, that's not going to keep him doing that. Eventually, he's just going to shoot me. Of course. But it does mean I found a fix for that problem. I just have to not be stupid. And lo and behold, here he is again. I gotta commend this guy for a second. He's running mostly that stock Arquebus Advanced frame, and a lot of people, I guess, consider that thing to be very booty bad or butt cheek sort of bad. Granted, his weapons are really good, but that frame is... I've run fatties like that. Brother, I don't know how you handle piloting that. It treats you well enough. You know, I clearly ain't the guy to critique it, but props, my guy. Yikes. But going back here, I have the mild lead, and I'm not going to go to him because I have a single piece of cover I can use, and the cannons will destroy me if I let them. What happens there? No idea. Don't know if he just released them and turned too fast, or what happened. But he is in the same situation he was when he approached last time. And here we go with the kicks. You gotta make sure that the bazooka doesn't catch you. That those things don't catch you when you're broken, because there's not a lot you can do. They're still very fat. And use as much cover as humanly possible. Armored core. Cover shooter. Confirmed. I also legit do not know what is going on with the times he's not looking at the camera. Or not lined up right, I suppose. I should know what's going on with that, but I don't know if it's lag, I don't know if it's just compensation making it look weird. I could have swore before this moment that he had terminal armor. Now, I know what you're thinking. Did you forget your short-term memory loss? It's bad. It's bad. Here we go again. Same general game plan. Abuse my cover as much as possible. Use the arc of the missiles to get around things, get a lead. Avoid the bazooka as hard as humanly possible, get more flames on. And one reason I pulse the flamethrower is to make sure the rifle is accurate. There's a place you can look up like recoil information, and apparently the flamethrower has recoil. I'm guessing, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I've never shot one. I wouldn't know, but it just kind of struck me as odd. And it can throw off a lot. It's like the chain gun. It's not quite as bad as the chain gun, but it has the same general effect of destroying your arm's accuracy. And I think that break saved my bacon. And no. It might just be the grid walkers, but occasionally the assault boost worked with this thing. Alright, our final game. I'm not particularly proud of this match, but I wanted to throw it in there as an example of when your strategy works, don't abandon it or lead in with it first if you want to win matches. Now, this is kind of agnostic to this particular AC, because I could have done better than what I did. Now, I thought I was pretty well screwed this entire time, so I just went in with this kick theory and just to see if it would get me anywhere. I legitimately thought I was going to lose this the moment the screen popped up. And that's not without good reason. It's happened like that before. Where I'll get in, especially with double melee guys, where they're really good. You can barely get away from them. I got lucky, and this guy, he's not one of those guys that sticks to you constantly. But with that assumption, I'm constantly fighting him in here. That gives him a sizable advantage. And that's the moment right there. Yeah. So, however, look at his health bar. That's what, a third to a quarter? Not terrible for an AC not really built to fight at that range. So I remain in a situation where I think maybe I can still handle this. Maybe this can still work out in my favor, but I want to start out with, the basic strategy. And I do. But I get complacent. I get hit when I fall right there. And I go back to doing my vertical game. I overheat my flamethrower, and that's the beginning of my problems. I run out of energy and what have you. I think it's about right here when I change. Yeah, I start going back to my original strat of going up, letting him have space, just dropping flames and seeing what I can get away with, spamming missiles when I can, and kind of ignore the Sweet 16 on my back. Using vertical kiting to avoid the blade strikes. Now, I've almost got him broken. I was just kind of hoping I could get the break. And, nah, just enough. That said, that's what I got, guys. Take it easy. I'll see y'all later.